Hey, welcome back to the Building HVAC Science Podcast, where it's our goal to create better, more knowledgeable HVAC and building performance pros by helping these two professions better understand each other. And we hope this podcast helps make customers happy in the homes and buildings they live and work in through the efforts of these pros. Eric Kaiser, Ben Lipscomb, and I are back from the NCI Summit in Austin, Texas. There are three big themes there: whole home thinking, data you can trust, and tools that make better work faster. That's the themes that we walked away with. A lot more going on there, but the high-performance HVAC mindset came through very clearly, especially in a lively contractor panel that was moderated by Ben Lipscomb with folks like Mitch Bailey, Dustin Cole, Branaman, Jeremy Begley, and MIcahel Cianfrocco. They're talking about how uniting HVAC and building science to solve real-world problems, reduce callbacks, improve installs. Music to our ears. NCI's training, their training depth and airflow, combustion diagnostics, it was all front and center. And the format, with several of these sessions presented twice, helped attendees catch more of what mattered, what they're interested in. Eric tells us about his session and recorded field data, calling out platforms like MeasureQuick that aggregate, analyze, and report. And we talk about a couple new standout tools, the Shaco Fin Restoration Tool and the EEV-Mate, as well as the Testo 860i wireless thermal imager. And we got a chance to meet with people from a couple of startup companies, NoSo Labs, we're going to have a podcast with him, and Thalo Labs, we'll have a podcast with them shortly. You'll hear more about it if you listen to this podcast. With over 200 attendees and 20 exhibitors like Fieldpiece, TEC, Daikin, Energy Circle, TSI, Sauerman, and more, the vibe was busy, practical, and optimistic. We also give a shout out to the Canadian contingent that comes to these NCI events, these NCI summits, including Anthony Wu, who was named Contractor of the Year, small size. And we also talked about the adoption of EOS, as that continues to be the buzzword in the industry a lot of times. I talked a little bit about betterhvac.org. Please listen to that. We got over 250 contractors signed up for that now. And then also we go through our heavy fall travel schedule for True Tech Tools. We'll be out there meeting with people at various events. Listen to those events. There's a lot of things going on. NCI Summit next year is slated for September 2026 in the Great Smoky Mountains. And hey, take a look at the links in the show notes. A lot going on. Okay, I'll let you listen to the details here as we talk about from data to decisions, tools, demos, and takeaways from the NCI Summit. Welcome back to Building HVAC Science. Got Eric Kaiser staring at me with a quizzical look on his face.
Wow, Bill, that was fast. I wasn't expecting you to start the recording that quickly, but hey, Here we go.
Why not?
We're back. We're here. We're back from NCI Summit, aren't we?
Yeah, in Austin, Texas. That was here in early September 2025.
For us Northerners, it was hot down there still.
It was really warm, really sunny. I would say nice weather overall. It was held at a Kalahari resort, which included water slides and pools and all kinds of fun stuff.
That I don't think most of us took advantage of.
No.
I know I did.
A few people did bring their families. We know they went to the water park, so that was great. And that was a nice, thoughtful gesture by NCI to provide something for families also to attend.
For sure, because I think a lot of the contractors and even us often fly in, fly out, hurry. And we sometimes forget to slow down at some of these events and maybe enjoy the area a little bit. So being able to bring family in or have a long weekend afterwards with family at a place like that seems like a good idea.
Absolutely. So this episode will be about a recap of that event. Eric, you took some really good notes. Why don't you pour through them and I'll interject as necessary.
If you're not familiar with NCI or National Comfort Institute, first off, they are a multifaceted organization that does a lot of technical training and what I consider really high quality technical training. You can find more of them at their website, nationalcomfortinstitute.com, I believe is their first landing page. We will link that in the show notes if I'm incorrect, or even if I'm correct. But look in the show notes for the exact address, but I'm pretty sure that's the right one. And they do an annual, what they call a summit, and it's a group of contractors, and it's open to anybody. Any contractor can attend, but it's really all about what they call high performance HVAC. I like to think of it as going above and beyond the bare minimum and really striving for premium performance out of the equipment or out of the system as a whole. And that was really a big focus that I saw there this year was whole system thinking, starting to think beyond that box and even beyond the ductwork that we normally focus on and that NCI is really good at training at. They do a lot of training on airflow and combustion analysis and things like that.
They had a really interesting panel there. I'm going to stumble naming everyone that was on the panel, but 6 contractors are up there.
Oh, on Friday?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was all about whole home thinking. Let's see, Mitch Bailey, Dustin Cole, MIcahel Cianfrocco, and I'm missing 2. Oh, Ty Branaman was up there. And who was the 5th? I should know this off the top of my head.
Oh, Ben Lipscomb from NCI was the moderator for the session.
Yeah. Oh, our friend Jeremy Begley. How could I forget about Jeremy?
Right, because he talked about a special sensor that he carries around with him. Off the top of his head, you know what we're talking about?
Now you're straining my head to remember that I've been on flights and slept a few times since then.
So I experienced the same thing. This is on my own house when we were doing a blower door test, and I came down the stairs and I felt the cool breeze of the leakage air pouring down the stairwell over the top of my head.
That sensor, yes, off the top of your head. I don't remember. Yeah, now I'm getting it. Yes.
We tied it in.
Those members of our community who are follicularly challenged, is that a word?
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I think I've heard that.
Yeah, or have less follicular activity than some of us who maybe have extra follicular activity. We're trying to say nicely that you got not much hair on your top of your head.
Nope. But it was a great session. In any case, they talked about doing all the right testing, diagnostics, and integrating building science into solving problems, improving installs, reducing callbacks, and standing out in a crowded market. I think NCI does a great job of that, is showing the business benefits and actually having members tell their stories of the business benefits of this whole home approach. So uniting HVAC and building science, whole home thinking, that was a great session on Friday, just last Friday.
Yeah, it shows that there's not only a lot of opportunity out there for business-wise, but there's also a lot of opportunity out there to fix things and fix problems in a different manner than a lot of the HVAC community has historically focused on. Historically, we have focused on the equipment. And then beyond that, we started focusing on ducts and airflow through the ductwork. But now we're finally starting, as a community, we're finally starting to branch outside of that and look at the biggest duct, which is the house. And this is where we're talking about forced air systems, because that is the majority of systems in the United States as far as from a heating. And it's hard to do cooling without moving air somewhere.
Now, you said something there, and I'm going to use that as a segue onto another topic here. You said United States and Canada.
Oh, I forgot. I should be saying North America.
There were a number of contractors there from Canada.
There was, and one of them even won an award.
Yeah.
A Contractor of the Year award. And I got to take a shout out to Anthony Wu and Climatizacion ACG. I hope I pronounced that right, Anthony.
You did very good.
He came down to Summit last year in Asheville. And he literally came there just to meet John Ellis. And he fell into NCI by chance, I think.
I watched him last year in Asheville. His eyes were glued. Every time I saw him in a room or watching some of the presentation, he was hyper focused. He was a man with a mission.
He was. And he took that mission to the next level in his company this year and just skyrocketed his company as far as the quality of things that they do. Brought a lot of tools, a lot of test instruments, a lot of knowledge into that company, and made a big difference in his company, and rightly so, won that award this year.
Yeah, and they have the award staged in, I believe, is it 2 or 3 levels?
3 levels.
Based upon business. So he won at the smaller level contractor. But the other thing he did, which again was near and dear to our hearts, is he started adopting the entrepreneurial operating system, the EOS facets in his business too. So again, combining business with the technical side, solving people's problems, approaching it in a forthright and honest way. There are other Canadian contractors there. Will Horner from Canco. I had some conversations with him. There were many more from Canada too. So NCI does truly represent North America in their members and conference attendees. And again, going back to what Eric said was not differentiating, but emphasizing this summit is open to all interested parties.
Yeah. So if you want to take a place that has a lot of great education at it, NCI presents a lot of sessions from their people. They have their partners present sessions as well. And one thing I do like about this conference is that a few of the sessions get presented at least twice. And I like that because going to a lot of these conferences, there are a ton of really good sessions. And it is hard to pick and choose what to go to and what to see. And by doing that, it gives the contractors a little bit of an opportunity. It narrows the focus a little bit. It's not quite as broad as some conferences, but it gives the attendees that option and that opportunity to go into a class that they might want to see. So I think that's a beneficial part of this. And it's something that I haven't seen a lot of conferences doing. A lot of them try to pack in as much of a breadth as they can. So it's a little bit of a difference.
Yeah, people get a little frustrated with the fact that they don't get a chance to see everything that they came for. And there are people that came to see you too. What was your topic you presented too?
I did a topic on using data and specifically recorded data to do troubleshooting. And we highlighted some things about data that I think the industry might be missing, some things that I've learned along the way, and tried to share that and get people to look at data, especially technical data that we're talking about. This is mostly focused on field data being pulled in by technicians. And really trying to make sure that we're thinking about that data in a good way, about making sure that it's good quality data, because that data is used by the technician to communicate to the homeowner. And then the homeowner or the business owner, whoever they're talking to, goes and makes financial decisions with that. So it's really important to make sure that that's good quality information going in. So we've got to make sure that the data coming out of our tools and the way we interpret that data is of a good quality, since it is financial quality data there going in. They're making a financial decision for maybe doing a repair versus a replacement, or what repairs to make, where and how to invest their money in comfort, and what's going to be the best path and most effective path for them to get what they want, which is comfort in their living spaces.
And in order to collect data, you need to use tools and instruments. So
you're right. We do. We need a medium to collect it. And historically, in our world, we've used humans to collect that data a lot. We've used a visual interface to use our eyeballs and to collect that data and write it down. Now, if you start looking at analyzing a system, a total HVAC system, whether you're just looking at the equipment or you're going outside that equipment, there are a ton of data inputs coming in, and they're constantly streaming information to us. And I'm going to say that it's impossible for a human to simultaneously collect all of those, process them in our brain, and write them down in a meaningful manner, or type them in somewhere in a meaningful manner that can really be solidly interpreted later, which is where I find the value of digital instrumentation, bringing all that data together in one place and then recording it for later analysis, or doing a real-time analysis in tools like MeasureQuick, which does a ton of data analysis for us and smooths out those bumps a little bit and says, hey, we're looking at this. Yes, this is a problem. No, it's not. Helping out with real-time troubleshooting, things like that. As a technician, having done a lot of that, having looked at these systems, I find that incredibly helpful. It allows me to do a better job.
there were 20 exhibitors. I actually counted them. I pulled them up on the app here in front of me.
So 20 exhibitors and 210 people in attendance, right?
Yeah, that's what we heard. I'm just going to read through the list of exhibitors. You could stop me anywhere you want to chime in something. I'm going alphabetical order. Arzell Zoning, Baker Distributing, Conduit Tech, which has a LiDAR-based load calculation software. Daikin, of course, big name. The Energy Circle, a name some people might be familiar with. They're a marketing agency that helps home performance, HVAC, solar contractors do better in marketing. That's a great website. Lots of free information there, Energy Circle. Evergreen Telemetry. That's a newer company, but not a new company. They've been around probably for the better part of a decade with, we'll call them wireless.
They make a lot of specifically air diagnostic instrumentation. So measuring the conditions of air, temperature, humidity, measuring the flow of air with hoods and things like that, and some other things. I'm not 100% familiar with everything that they make because we don't resell them, distribute that product line, but make some good quality products for sure.
Absolutely. A brand we do resell, Fieldpiece, was there. Tony Gonzalez was there. A finance company called FTL Finance. The Grit Foundation. We interviewed the Grit folks recently.
Yeah, we did. Ty and Lailani and Brian and Perla were all there.
Perla, all there, yeah. So the Grit Foundation, in case people who are listening don't know, that's greater resilience in the trades.
Yes, I believe we'll go with that.
Right now, they're coordinating across the country grit camps to
growing resilience in the trades.
Growing resilience. Thank you.
There we go.
They're coordinating camps for youth to get involved and have a one-day experience doing things, hands-on experience in the trades.
We'll link their website in the show notes as well, for sure.
I will definitely do that.
I want to make sure everybody can find them.
Quick Model 3D was there. Russ King was there. You go ahead and describe his software.
It's a load calculation software that it's loosely based on video games. I've heard using Roblox, if you're familiar with that. I haven't ever played that game, but it builds a house, and this was, to my knowledge, the first 3D load calculation program on the market. But it builds a house in 3 dimensions using blocks. And then Russ has recently worked with his son. So he and his son, Connor, own the company, and Connor's the programmer and Russ is the ideator, I guess you'd say. And he's got a way to actually bring that in from an external scanner in 3 dimensions. But then it will do a load calculation for you. It will do manual S for ACA, and it follows the rules from manual D to do duct design inside the software as well. So you can do 3-dimensional duct design in there, which is useful.
Yeah, very interesting company there. MeasureQuick was also there. Joe Medash, Val Buckles, and Eric Preston were there for MeasureQuick.
Yep. If you're not familiar with MeasureQuick.
What's wrong with you? Oh.
Well,
sorry.
I wasn't going to say that. I was trying to be nice here, Bill. And that's not to say Bill's not nice. He's a very nice guy. But it does bring up a point. Like, they don't make really any products. They make software that interfaces with hardware and interfaces with a lot of hardware. My view of that is it's data aggregation and analysis software. So it takes a lot of Jim Bergman's brain and a lot of his thoughts and ideas and takes general principles from around the industry, and it takes all that data in from those wireless sensors or instrumentation, and it analyzes them, gives us meaningful feedback, gives a report that's meaningful to customers. It helps us as a technician to communicate with those customers in a meaningful manner, which I think is a great tool because that's something that, let's just say, we don't do a great job of sometimes. It can be challenging.
MIcahel Company, large HVAC equipment wholesaler, distributor. Rector Seal and Dust Free. Sauerman was there. Our friend Tyler Nelson was there with his products. Cytron Americas was there. Jason Steves. And SensorCon, some nifty products coming out from SensorCon, some new ones we carry right now. There are new ones coming out. And also our friends from TEC who happen to be sitting right next door to us, the Energy Conservatory. All their fine products. And Chris Hughes and Steve Rogers were the 2 attendees. There's a charitable organization called the Joseph Grow Foundation. I'll put a link to that in the show notes so you can learn more about that if you're interested. Our booth, TrueTech, and also TSI, other fine measurement, airflow measurement, the flow hoods mainly is what they're known for. They were also there.
Yeah, they do airflow measurement. They do water pressure measurement. They do conditions of air measurement. They got a lot of different stuff. Really good company. Used their tools for a lot of years.
Also, there were a couple of tech startup companies there. And we already interviewed one on our podcast, and we're going to review the other one shortly. Or I think it'll be next month. So you have to wait a little bit for that. But Noso Labs and Thalo Labs. Everybody's got labs, but there were no dogs there.
Woof, woof,
Woof,
woof.
woof, woof.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
So NOSO has developed an AI assistant to make use of service technicians' windshield time, and I want to say in two ways, by verbally relaying details pre-service appointment and then capturing notes during and after the call to move things more quickly into action. So we interviewed their founder, Winston Chi, yes. And we live streamed that on the NCI. And we're also going to have that as a True Tech podcast, a BHS podcast. The audio portion of that will come out shortly. The other was a company called Thalo Labs, which have built a system to do multi-point sensor measurements on HVAC systems. And they're working with a lot of commercial customers now. And they were looking for advice and perspective on how to approach residential. They seemed very interested in feedback. And like I said, they'll be on the podcast in about a month. We'll be recording with them. Brandon Hermelin was the person we met with there, or I met with there.
Yeah, I did not, unfortunately, get a chance to talk with him, but there were a lot of great people there that I got to meet and talk with, and I'm sure there was a lot that I didn't get to meet and talk with as well. Even with, I'll say, a small number of people there, 200 is still a lot to get to talk with, even over a 3-day period.
Yeah, and Billy came with ELK and I to the event, and he estimates that probably 75% of the people did stop by our booth. Everybody kept on. I have the blessing, the benefit of being able to stand back a little bit now as I age out of things. But other people are going like, still a big crowd around your booth. These are other exhibitors. Like a little bit of annoyance. Like there's still a crowd around your booth. And I'm just so grateful and thankful that people are interested in what we do and give us good feedback. And we love the connection that we have with people.
Absolutely. I love talking to people in there, and I try to have some really meaningful conversations with people that come by the booth. And if they start asking technical questions, I love getting deep technical with people, even though I probably shouldn't at those events as much, but it's a lot of fun.
It's a chance they have and you have. I usually get questions now like, so what's the newest, the best, the most important thing you would show people at this table? Sometimes they're like, I would call them not massive products, but things that are just like, wow, that's a neat one. And this is one, the Shaco, that you actually helped develop into True Tech.
Yeah, I did not help develop the product. I cannot take any credit for that, but it's a pretty cool product. It's a Shaco. It's a fin comb tool. It's made by Condenser Coil Connection, and they're actually made here in Indianapolis. And I got to go visit their factory where they have them made at, and the owner lives 15 minutes away from my house. So that was neat to get to know them a little bit and find out about the development of that. But it is a tool that's designed to stand fins back up on an outdoor coil or any coil really that's been damaged. So it was developed for hail damaged coils originally, and it goes on the end of a DeWalt or a Craftsman oscillating tool. And I'm just going to say right now for anybody listening, I know for the Milwaukee tools, I asked the same question and they said you can use it on those, but it doesn't work as well because the DeWalt has a trigger control on it. So it's quickly modulating that speed is necessary for better and faster results. Details on that on the website. We've got them on the website, but I got to see and use that tool a little bit, and it's a game changer. And I know I've used that term before, but it's a game changer in the world of getting fins to stand back up. It doesn't separate them entirely. It's a 2-step process. You use that tool to stand the fins up on the coil and then a comb to separate them out into the proper spacing.
And that as opposed to doing perhaps with a severely damaged coil.
With a severely damaged coil, a lot of times you had to take a pick. One of my favorite tools was just a pocket screwdriver and literally do it one fin at a time.
Yeah.
And I would say this probably takes maybe 1/10 of the time of doing that. So it'll stand fins up that were smashed down flat against the tubes in a tube and fin coil. It's pretty impressive.
That's, I'll say, a smaller company developing that, someone with an idea, an inventor. And we had another product at the table that was developed by an inventor. And you developed a demo to clearly show people how it worked. What was that product?
Yeah, so that's the EEV mate, or electronic expansion valve mate. It was developed by a gentleman by the name of Kevin Mate, and he does a lot of VRV and VRF work. And they needed something to control electronic expansion valves. So he developed a little tool that will drive the unipolar expansion valves. Now, there's 2 types of expansion valves. There's unipolar and bipolar. I'm thinking maybe the bipolar are twice as good as unipolar. I don't know. However, it'll drive the unipolar types. I'm told that they have another generation coming out to be able to drive the bipolar types, but we don't have anything on that yet as far as a date. So keep your eyes open for that one. But the unipolar is the most common in mini splits on residential and light commercial HVAC systems. The bipolar is going to be on larger built-up systems, refrigeration systems, things like that. But the demo I had there, Ty Branaman came over and shot a little video at the booth with it, and he had a lot of fun with it. But yeah, it just got a little air pump on the end of an EEV that I bought off of the internet somewhere, and shows how we can drive it open and closed electronically or with a hand magnet. And the EV makes hand magnets as well as the electronic tool. We started distributing them earlier this year. They've been around for a couple of years and really good product, really handy for the folks doing a lot of VRV, VRF, or working with EEVs regularly to be able to drive them electronically, troubleshoot them, reset them, things like that.
Speaking of demos, Ty Branaman had a couple things going on at his table for the Grit Foundation.
Ty's always got stuff going on. That guy's a wizard.
He is. He was showing a newer thermal imager from Testo, the 860i, which is a product that uses Wi-Fi to communicate with a smart device, a tablet or a smartphone. And it actually can clip on to most size smartphones, but it gives you this it's a stick. I mean, it's maybe the size of a couple of Fat Magic markers. And it gives some pretty great thermal images, works with the Testo app to be able to download and use that. And Ty was using that as a demonstration. He had it up on a tripod pole in his booth.
Yeah, they are a neat little camera. I like the fact that they're wireless, and I've seen and done a little bit with them of my own. And one of the things I like to be able to do is to actually stick that inside of a piece of equipment. Because it's wireless, now I can put it into a piece of equipment or even put it on the end of a stick. It's got a threaded end on it, so you can put it on a tripod or a monopole or on the end of a stick and stick it up in some place where you can't access without having to climb up there or physically or something like that. So kind of a neat device and is a little bit different, but it's got a good price point on it, and especially for the sensor size in it, because it has visible light as well as thermal lenses in it. So you get very good alignment between the two, the camera and the thermal lens. And you also get a good 256 by 192 thermal sensor on it, which is a pretty good size sensor.
And there's no display on the device itself. It uses the smart device display.
Yep, all on smart device display. So if you're a residential contractor that uses that to show things to homeowners, it's pretty nice to be able to hook that up to your tablet, because then you can walk around, and if you want to show something to your homeowner, it's way easier to show them on a larger screen. They get a bigger picture.
Yeah, actually give them the tablet. You pointed at what you want to show them. Makes it very personal.
Yeah.
So also we started to share information on Better HVAC, and signups have increased on that. We're up to around 250 contractors, betterhvac.org. We're going to do another podcast on that, so I won't get too deep into it, but if you could just look at betterhvac.org, see what you think about that. There's a feedback form there as well, as you can reach out to me directly. Just make a mention of that.
We should probably get you and Kevin on here and talk about that sometime.
We're talking about that, and also Tom Hoffmeister too. So I meant to send a doodle poll out today to try to pick a date where we could all be available. Some of the other things, we're talking about one conference, but Eric, we go to a bunch of conferences. I mean, even the rest of this year, I pulled up the list here. Jeez.
It's been a busy fall. We hit August and my feet left the ground, and they're probably not going to come back down until December.
Just make sure you don't get deep vein thrombosis because your legs are in the air all the time.
Yeah, I think the longest period I'm home for between August and December is 2 weeks. And there's a lot of time where I'm out 2 weeks in a row in there too. So it's a busy season, but it's good because we're connecting with a lot of contractors and helping the industries along.
Yeah, so we got the Next Star Super Meeting coming up. Women in HVAC, we're sending Sue Birch as a representative to that organization we're members of. The LG Dealer Meeting, Weatherize Ohio Conference, a Michigan Weatherization Conference, BPA regional event in New England, which you'll be going to, the iHockey show, which is in California, that's in November. And then you and I will be going to the Heat Pump Summit in Massachusetts, Worcester. And then there's the Residential Buildings Workshop. And what am I missing? I'm missing something else here. I think I got them all.
Yeah, I think you got them all.
That's enough is what it is.
That's quite a bit. The one in December you're referencing there is the ASHRAE Buildings XVI Conference.
Right. Thank you. That's the one you got invited to.
Yeah.
Very good.
That should be a fun conference because my understanding is that only happens every 3 years. And it looks to be some really good education and working with ASHRAE and a lot of the engineers trying to make sure that the standards are well written. There's a good communication. I'm really for fostering good communication between the engineering community and the practitioners community where we're doing the things out in the field, because we've got to have good communication between those communities to make things work in the work for the customers and work for the occupants of buildings.
Very good. I'm going to call that a wrap.
That was a lot of stuff there. So I'm going to say be on the lookout for NCI Summit next year. Where's it going to be next year? In Tennessee?
Oh, they said the Great Smoky Mountains. So I think Tennessee is their new home. And I don't think they've defined the place yet, so they haven't said the city, but it's in the Smoky Mountains.
Gotcha. So keep your eye out for that announcement of the location. If you are a contractor and you want to learn more about high performance, check out National Comfort Institute. I think it's .com, might be .org.
Yeah, I did. I looked it up. It is nationalcomfortinstitute.com. And additionally, they also have a site for homeowners.
They do.
Yeah, called myhomecomfort.org. And they go over a lot of the principles and a lot of information you can use to share with your homeowners, basically, and help them understand this concept of total home performance, which then helps them ask questions and draws you into doing better work for them. So it's a beautiful cycle there.
Well, ultimately, it's all about creating better comfort, better experience for the occupants and the homeowners. So it's a great place to start. And like I said, if you're a contractor, keep your eye open for that and maybe think about attending in 2026.
Making better environments for people.
That's right. That's what we're all about.
That's our mission. Our vision, I should say. Our mission is to provide tools and test instruments and process training, something like that, education.
You're supposed to know all this stuff. You wrote it.
I'm supposed to know all that, yeah.
I should know it all too, but it's over there on my wall where I can read it.
All right. Eric, thanks for joining me here. And listeners, thanks for listening in to this podcast. We'll have a bunch of links for you in the show notes so you can follow up, and we'll let you get back to whatever you were doing.
Sounds good, Bill. Thanks for talking this afternoon, and thanks for listening out there, everyone.
Absolutely. Thanks again for listening to this episode of the Building HVAC Science Podcast. If you have any questions or want to suggest a topic or anything at all, really, just reach out to marketing@TruTechTools.com, TruTechTools.com. Some of the topics we discuss require technical training for proper interpretation or safe execution. If you're a trained pro, you can proceed immediately. If you're not, please consult with and hire a trained pro. You can find them on the betterhvac.org website, as a matter of fact. The Building HVAC Science Podcast is a production of TruTech Tools Limited. In full disclosure, I'm the owner of TruTech. And the opinions expressed are those of my guests, my co-host, or myself, depending on who is speaking, of course. And if you're in the market for tools or test instruments mentioned in the podcast, take a look at our website, TruTechTools.com, TruTechTools.com, and use the offer code HVACBS for a nice discount. I want to thank you for listening and following the Building HVAC Science Podcast. We look forward to having you back next time to listen to more about what we got to say about building HVAC science. Take care.